Yo, what's going on, guys? Trev back again for another one. Okay, this is going to be for Season 2, Episode 3, Save the Last One. Let you guys know, if you're looking for the episode, it is up right now at ISO Hunt. So head on over to isohunt.com, look up Walking Dead Save the Last One, look up based on time, and you will see yesterday that it was posted. Yeah, so you can go download it there off torrents. Go check that out. Please don't thumb down my video. I just told you how to get it, okay? Alright, now those of you who are interested in the commentary and the review of the episode, let's get started. Actually, before we get started, I want to say happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you guys have a good one. Me personally would be Captain America for Halloween, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I may post a video on that, or maybe some pictures and stuff like that. Anyway, getting on into it. So this episode was amazing. This was one of the best episodes we've had of The Walking Dead, period. This was just off the charts, man. At the beginning, I was kind of thinking this episode was going to be like the second episode, which was, to me, the second episode was like, Bloodletting was like, it was a decent episode, but it didn't really have much in the way of action, and it was really a slow-paced episode. This one made up for it a lot. Now, halfway through this episode, I was thinking to myself, like, oh man, like this is going to be just like the second one. You know, not a lot happens, you know, and it feels a lot of like fluff. It feels like it's a lot of filler, and not much is going on. And then the big reveal at the ending. Spoiler warning. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. If you haven't seen the episode, go download it, go watch it, and then come back and hear the review. So, wow, you know, the ending of this episode was just amazing. One of the best endings we've had so far. I liked when they started off the episode and they kind of had Shane, you know, shaving his head and that kind of stuff. And you don't really know why. You're thinking to yourself, like what the hell is this? Like, well, you know what I mean? Why are they showing us this? Or when is this, you know, in time and continuity? Is this before, you know, zombie apocalypse or after? Like, you just don't know, you know, what's going on at the beginning. And then at the ending, you kind of see the scene again and it makes sense and it ties it all together. Me personally, I was thinking like when he was, you know, when Shane was all freaking out and he's got the scratches on his head or whatever, I was like you know, like this is kind of weird. Like what's going on? You know, did he get partially bit or scraped or like, you know, scratched by a zombie or something? You know what I mean? Something happened, and just the way he was acting and stuff, he was all, you know, wigging out basically and stuff like that. And then, you know, of course, the big reveal, we find out that he actually shot Otis and left him for dead for the zombies to, you know, munch on. Man, that was crazy. You know, very, very surprising because in the comic book, and most of you have read the comic book, Otis actually survives right up to the prison. You know, pretty far into the story. I think it's, what is it, trade paperback maybe 4 or 5, something like that, where Otis comes back and, you know, ends up dying when he tries to go to the prison. This was much better. This death for Otis was much better because this sort of helps with the logical progression of Shane kind of becoming a little bit crazy. You know, right up to that point, you know, Shane's the big hero and everything, and you're thinking, oh, you know, he saved Carl's life and all this stuff, and you know what I mean? How could you not like this character? And then they flip it on its end, and you see how he was able to get the, you know, the stuff that was needed, the materials needed to save Carl back, and how he did it was he had to shoot him in the leg, man. Oh man, that was just crazy. I always thought to myself, like, you know, even if they're limping and he's, you know, he's out of shape and stuff like that, couldn't they still kind of outrun the zombies? I guess maybe not. Maybe if he's, you know, if it's a huge guy and he's been running around for a while, you know, his cardio wouldn't be the best. Maybe he just can't, literally his body just can't go anymore, can't go any further. So wow, what an impressive, amazing episode. Yeah, I mean, John Bernthal, the actor who plays Shane, is just outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. I think he is one of the best actors in this show. His performance in this episode stands out very well. I think that everything makes sense, and I'll probably end up watching this episode again later, maybe twice or 3 times. I just really like this episode a lot. Is it as good as the season premiere? Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. It's different because it's not as long as the season premiere was for season 2. And as many of you guys know, if you've listened to my reviews before, season 2, episode 1 is my favorite. But this was definitely up there in the list of being one of the best Walking Dead episodes because this kind of shows something we haven't seen before, aside from Merle Dixon, which is kind of like, you know, how this kind of world and these kind of conditions affects people. You know, I mean, Shane was a cop, you know, and maybe he was, you know, maybe he wasn't the best, you know, or, you know, he didn't follow all the rules, but he was a police officer before, and now you see him doing stuff like this. Wow, very cool, very cool. What else to mention in the episode? I think that the actor who plays Maggie, which is Herschel's daughter, which is going to end up probably being Glenn's girlfriend. Um, she does a pretty good job. I think she's a decent pick. I can't really say too much more about that other than the fact that I think that she's a decent actor, and Herschel is great. Patricia, we got to see just for a split second there, hardly at all. Um, it'll be interesting to see what happens with her character and that kind of stuff. I'm sure it'll be different from the comic book, and I'm all for this. I want to see the TV show be as different from the comic book as possible. The fact that they killed Otis at this point, surprising us all, was very cool. I like the way that they're writing the show. Sort of in certain instances, they write it in order to surprise comic book fans. The guys people who have read the comic book will be surprised when they watch this show as how different it is. It's similar, but then it's different. For example, they're at the farm now, and Carl's been shot and all this kind of stuff has gone down, and they haven't met Tyrese yet, who is a main character in the comic book. They haven't met a lot of these other characters. So, it's very cool the way they're going their own route. I like that a lot. What else happened in this episode that was really meaningful? Not much. I mean, Daryl and Andrew went for a stroll in the woods. That's about it. They wasted an arrow on a hanging zombie, and not much more to say there, really. A lot of it was kind of a lull with Lori and Rick kind of sitting around just waiting for Carl, and eventually finding out Carl's going to be okay. But really, for this episode, this is Shane's episode, really. And John Bernthal didn't let us down. He did just an awesome job with this episode. So overall, I got to give this episode a 9 out of 10. I think this was just an amazing episode, and definitely, one of the ones that really is going to make this show really memorable. Hopefully, the rest of the season will be this good, and it won't be more like the second episode where there's just lulls all the way through. I think that they're mixing it up pretty good. They have to have some lulls because of the amount of episodes, but they're mixing in some exciting stuff as they're going along. I thought that the parts where Otis and Shane were kind of inside the high school, that was very exciting. All of that was really, really exciting for sure. I love to see that kind of stuff. I like to see as much of that as possible, as much action as possible. Really excited to see what happens with Shane's character and the rest of the season, and what eventually ends up happening with everybody. So, wow, The Walking Dead, totally blown away by this episode. Thought it was amazing. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the changes between this and the comic book? Do you like the way Otis has just been killed right like that, right at the beginning? And are you like me? Do you want to see the TV show become totally different from the comic book and just be its own thing completely? I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, there wasn't really much else that happened in this episode other than a little bit of waiting around and that kind of stuff. Let me know what you guys think about the episode, all those questions I mentioned. And, of course, happy Halloween. Have a good one, guys. Later. Peace.